Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the Acer ICONIA TAB A100. It's available right now for $329.99, the 8GB Wi-Fi only version. It bears some similarities to its bigger brother, the Acer ICONIA TAB A500, but this is a 7-inch model featuring honeycomb. The A100 actually retains the same design characteristics as the A500's bigger brother with its tapered edges here. It's constructed out of plastic, glossy plastic in fact. It's pretty sturdy, and we actually like the overall build quality of this tablet better than the A500. It just feels a little bit more solid. The other nice thing we like about it is that it's not as wide compared to some other similar sized tablets, so it's easier to hold in the hand. Overall, there's a little bit of weight to it, but for the most part, we're happy with the overall design. Presenting us with a 7-inch LCD display, it features a resolution of 1024 by 600 pixels, so it's the same thing we see in other 7-inch tablets out there. So it does produce some fine details, very clear. We also like the colors too. From a straight angle like now, it produces some deep tones that we like, saturated in a way. But unfortunately, with its poor brightness output and also viewing angles, it makes it very hard to view in outdoor conditions. And it could be something with just the overall size, but we just find ourselves constantly pressing something to register it. On top of that, it tracks a lot of fingerprints and very difficult to clean. Strangely, it packs a home button right here to get you back to the home screen. On top of that, it's used as a notification system just because it'll light up when you receive messages. On the top edge of the tablet, we find a 3.5mm headset jack, the microphone, and also a dedicated power button which is raised and has a good feel to it. Next to that, we find a handy orientation lock toggle right here, and also the volume rocker raised, and again, good tactile feel. Right over here, with underneath the flap, the plastic flap, you have a micro SD card slot, and it appears to be a placement spot for a SIM card slot for the cellular versions of the tablet. There's a lot going on the bottom edge of the tablet. We find things like the proprietary charging port, the left and right speakers, micro HDMI out port for video out, micro USB port for data connectivity, the dock connection port, and a manual reset button. Finally, flipping it over, we find a 5-megapixel autofocus camera with a chrome trimmer in it and a single LED flash. So what's powering this 7-inch tablet? Well, it's none other than the usual 1GHz NVIDIA Tegra 2 processor, dual-core processor with 512MB of RAM. We're actually very impressed with the overall responsiveness of the tablet. You could tell even with a live wallpaper, a graphically intensive one, it's running quite smoothly. Even in portrait usage, it still exhibits a lot of smooth movements, and overall, it's a pretty fast tablet. So the tablet's running Android 3.2 Honeycomb, and it is indeed a stock experience, but there are a few different widgets thrown in, such as the analog clock right there, you have the digital clock, and even a nifty weather widget. Everything else is the same. You have a lot of personalization, which we love. The app panel is laid out in your traditional grid-like form, and as you said, you could change things like the background wallpaper, the apps, the widgets, a lot of fun stuff, and we definitely enjoy that. On top of that, Acer does throw in their separate interface here. It breaks it down to e-reading. You have this game zone, this multimedia, and social. It's just a totally separate interface. It has this bookshelf-like view to it. Nothing really fancy, unfortunately. It just gives you a better way of organizing your applications. Mainly because of the smaller display, the typing experience is a little bit of a challenge, though we do like the overall responsiveness. Besides the cramped stylings, it's for the most part more usable as long as you have a lot of patience, and in portrait usage, it's not a problem at all. There's no question we love the email experience on the tablet just because it utilizes that great 2-panel view. You have view of your inbox and of course your email, and shifts over so you get a good view of the content. Thankfully, we're treated with a great web browsing experience. Our page loaded up very fast here, and even with Flash content, it doesn't stutter with its performance. You could tell even with the navigational controls, very responsive to the touch, and for the most part, more than usable. Besides using the stock Honeycomb music player, there's an alternative one called the Nemo music player. Its presentation layout's pretty much generic looking, nothing fancy about it. You have the album cover and on-screen controls. As far as the audio quality, it's average at best. Not the strongest or loudest out there, but at least it doesn't crackle. A little bit puzzled by the video watching experience with the tablet just because it's straining it every now and then to play back this video that's encoded in DivX 1080p resolution. Every now and then there's a little bit of lagginess with its operation, especially strange just because it runs so very smoothly with other things like navigating across the home screen. With lower quality videos, of course it does a better job. When it comes to taking photos with its 5-megapixel autofocus camera, they're average at best. They're nothing great, but good enough for most 4x6 printouts. Outdoors, if it's sunny outside, and the colors are natural looking, but details are on the flat side. It does a good job of actually taking macro shots, good amount of detail, but indoors under low lighting, of course, there is a little bit more graininess and also digital noise in the shots. But the LED flash manages to light up the scenery, but tends to make colors look dull. Unfortunately, we're not too thrilled with the tablet's 720p video capture, except for the fact that it records at a frame rate of 30 frames per second, so it's fairly smooth, but everything else is not that great. Details are muddy looking, and when you pan very quickly, there's a lot of artifacting and pixelation going on, and with its exposure, it sometimes tends to distort the colors. Battery life isn't spectacular, but for most people, suffice enough. Using the tablet very lightly, we're able to get at least 1 day's worth of usage on a single charge. But for heavy usage, we managed to get close to 12 hours, so it'll get you by a good working day, but it's something you're going to still charge every night. So here's the thing about the Acer ICONIA TAB A100. It's sporting a $330 price point for the 8GB Wi-Fi only version, and more recently the HTC Flyer and even the BlackBerry PlayBook got reduced in price to $300, and with those two tablets you get double the memory at 16GB. So for some people it might be a little bit hard to find the value in this guy when you're paying $30 more, but simply for a honeycomb tablet it's a decent offering. We definitely prefer this one over the Acer ICONIA TAB A500 simply for the fact that it sports a better construction than that guy. On top of that, the platform experience is a lot more responsive. We definitely like its operation. It might not excel in taking photos and videos, and the battery life can be questionable, but on the whole, it's a very decent offering, to tell you the truth. So if you want to learn more about the Acer ICONIA TAB A100, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V. Thanks for watching, guys.